What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video and the start, I can finally say this, the start of the MotoGP 25 career mode for part number 1 today, the Thai Grand Prix, the Chang International Circuit. If you have been keeping up to date with the channel, we have been posting a Tech 3 challenge while we waited for the 2025 liveries to update into career mode, and we are finally ready to go racing for 2025 with the Chang International Circuit, the Thai Grand Prix, before then going to Turmaster Rio Hondo, Austin, Qatar, and then kicking things off with the European season in Jerez. So, the options that we've got to start this career mode: SICK 58, the Sniper Squad, the CIP team, and the Bowie Moto 3 squad. But we're going to be joining Nicola Caro at the Snipers team for the first season in Moto 3. And you may have seen as well, we are enabling the rider transfer. So whilst we were waiting for things to be proper for Moto 3 in 2025, we are changing it because Alvaro Carpe goes to MT Helmets, Furusato to SICK 58, Max Quiles to MTA, Kelso to Red Bull KTM IO, one to keep an eye on, Lunetta to Aspar, and there was one other that I didn't read out in time. So here we go. It is myself and Nicola Caro on the Snipers bike for 2025. Let's see what we can do as we jump into the first part of career mode for the 2025 game. So, first things first, we have to choose our path. We choose the development path, a rivalry path, or we have one other option, and that is prestige. However, I'm going to keep things traditional for the first rivalry, the first path, and that is to beat your teammate. Rule number 1 is to beat your teammate, so we're going to be trying to beat Nicola Caro for the first section of the career mode. I don't really know how long these rivalries and these challenges last, whether it's you have to beat them by a certain point like you do in like the Formula 1 game, for example, but we will try and beat Caro. So looking through the bike developments and looking at the teams, to be honest with you, learning what all this means. There's a lot of graphs, there's a lot of colours, so we're just trying to learn what things look like at the minute. But for now, not really focusing about that. It is about time we start the career mode and jump into round number 1 and the first practice session at the Chang International Circuit under nice blue skies. But that will change because there is weather forecasted, rain forecasted for both Saturday and Sunday. So qualifying and the race looks to be held under wet conditions, which means the practice run in here isn't really going to be all that relevant because we are obviously practicing in the sunny and the warm conditions. But barreling down into turn number 1 for the first time on a Moto 3 bike on this game as well, by the way. Haven't ridden a Moto 3 bike on the 2025 game, so we were trying to figure that out. First time I've rode at Chang as well. I haven't raced this circuit on this game yet. I'm pretty sure. So trying to, just remember which way that goes, where the braking points are, etc., etc. So not expecting miracles in this first session. However, it would be nice if we can make it through to Q2. That is the target. But we're out in a minute on the medium tyres just to try and figure our way around this Chang International Circuit and just try and get the ball rolling ahead of the first round of the season. But like I say, not all that much to learn in these conditions, with the conditions looking like they're going to deteriorate for the rest of the weekend. So over the line to end the first lap of 41.9 sets the benchmark. It's quite a slow lap time, and we're going to improve on that straight away on the next run. We had a lap out and then we made a bit of a mistake and we went again on the next lap, and this time we're into the 40s, a 40.517, but we are still on the medium tyre at the back of the field by 66 thousandths of a second over what was Uriarte, but he's now moved up the order, I believe, and we are behind somebody else now. But putting the soft tyre on now for the time attack towards the end of the session. We're going to try and break into that important top 14 that qualify to Q2 directly. If we have to go through Q1 in these conditions, it might not actually be that much of a loss. It might not be that much of a hindrance when the wet weather comes to do an extra session in the wet weather. But we'll see what we can do. Ideally, we'd like to be guaranteed, the top 18 at least, to try and go forwards from there. But we'll have to see what we can pull out on this lap because we're not quite anywhere on the medium tyre. And I think when everybody puts the soft tyre on, everybody will improve again. So we need to make sure that we put together the perfect lap, really, and if we don't, then we might be in a little bit of trouble. But halfway around the first lap on the soft tyre, we are improving by 7 tenths, and that will leave us 3 tenths shy of the fastest time. We go onto the green, but we luckily don't get the lap taken away, but we do brake a little bit early into the left-hander, try and just give up a little bit of time, just a fraction, and then pull it all back through this next section. Obviously with the softer tyre, more grip, you can apply the throttle a little bit harder, a little bit earlier, and just eat away at the time from the medium run. So coming towards the end of the lap, we'll get the final sector point. Now we are red, less than a tenth though, quicker than Jose Antonio Rueda, who leads the session with Piqueras and Bertelli completing the top 3. Kelso at the minute 6th on his Red Bull KTM debut, so he's one to watch. And actually Max Quiles as well, who moved, he is up into 9th, and our teammate rounding out the top 10. So the bike at the minute, the Sniper's bike, has the pace, and we put our bike inside the top 3 and move our way into Q2, and that is going to be pretty much all she wrote, because we went out again at the end of the session and wasn't able to improve, but we do hang on to a Q2 spot. 52 thousandths of a second shy. Our teammate also there, he gets through as well, and Valentin Peroni rounding out the field in Q1. So a good start to the weekend, it must be said. We do go through to Q2, and let's see what we can do in this one. Joining us, Jacob Rolsto, Luca Lunetta, Valentin Peroni, who was last in the dry, and David Almanza make it through into Q2, where, as you can see, the conditions have took a turn for the worse. It is absolutely chucking it down at the Chang International Circuit, and we've just got to try and tiptoe our way around now. This is the first time I'm riding the wet conditions on a Moto3 bike, let alone really, you know, I think I've only done Termas de Rio Hondo in the wet on the MotoGP bike at the start of the Tech 3 Challenge. If you've missed any of that series, do recommend you go back and check it out. But our qualifying has taken a turn for the worse. It's not the ideal start, as we were gaining on Max Quiles at the end of that back straight. We just broke a little bit too hard. He was on an out lap, we were on a flying lap, and we closed in. We broke a little bit too hard, lost the front, and unfortunately that was all she wrote for the first stint. So we got back to the pits, we got the bike sorted, and we go again for our first flying lap here at the Chang International Circuit, which is not ideal because we lost a lot of valuable track time just to build into the session, build up the confidence in these conditions, and now we've got 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes to try and rescue something. So out of the hairpin at the end of the back straight, spinning up everywhere, can't turn anywhere. There's just no feeling from this bike at the minute whatsoever. We're spinning everywhere, and it's just not working, is it? You can just see that it is not working whatsoever. And as we skip to the end of the lap, I'm pretty sure we aren't going to be moving from this 18th position just by looking at that lap. It was all over the place, and we're still spinning on the exit of the final corner. A 49.1, 3 seconds adrift of Angel Piqueras at the top of the timesheet. So by far not a good start to the qualifying session, but we have got something to build on now, something to try and improve on. We're 8 tenths of a second underneath our time, which again isn't going to do anything because we're 1.6 behind Stefano Nepper in 17th. But if we could just continue chipping away, building away at it, then we might be able to do something. We've lost a bit of time though. We lost 4 tenths in that section. On the brakes into the final corner, pushing on as hard as possible, and we've suffered a second crash of the session. And at this point, we may as well write it off. But we do go for one final flying lap, where miraculously we are actually going to improve, but we aren't going to improve in position. We just cut the gap down a little bit to 1 second to Nepper, and about 2.5 to Angel Piqueras at the front of the field. But we did get over the line with one more lap to go, and well, onto the green. And at this point, I've lost all hope. I can't really be bothered, and yeah, we're just, yeah, lap's gone anyway, and yeah, disaster really for a qualifying session, but it is what it is. We're going to continue on this lap. We are going to set the lap, and a shout out to Jamie Randall, the Spanish Slenderman, who will be returning to YouTube in the very near future. But at the end of the session, it's Piqueras on pole, and I think it was Rueda and Kelso rounding out the front row.
Good morning from Gavin Emmett at the Chang International Circuit. We are just on the outskirts of the city of Buriram and ready to bring you the Thai Grand Prix. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the Moto3 class race.
Race time at the Chang International Circuit for round 1 of this 2025 Moto3 career mode, and conditions, as mentioned at the top of the episode, remain the same. It is absolutely chucking it down. Angel Piqueras on the MT Helmets MSI KTM bike. He's on pole position. And it is Rueda in second. And I'm pretty sure it was Joel Kelso rounding out the front row on his Red Bull debut. But we go from 18th. Can we get some points in the first race of the season?
All the riders are lined up on the starting grid. The countdown begins for the lights to go out. Just a few moments more and the Thai Grand Prix will begin.
Here we go then. The first race of this Moto3 25 career is here. The lights are on. And we are racing in Thailand. And it is not a good start. Instant spin off the line. Dropping all the way down to 21st position. But we do get the clear track actually. Surprised that we got a bit of a clear run around the outside of turn number 1. And we do recover back up to 19th position. So only lost 1 place off the start as it stands. And we've got a bit of slipstream that we might be able to use to our advantage. And try and make up some more places on the run into turn number 3. So on the brakes, looking to go around the outside of Cormac Buchanan. Can we get by him on the bow bike? Our teammate in there as well, who equally, just like me, didn't have much pace in the wet weather conditions, and we do get past Caro and up into 17th place as we now power our way down towards turn number 4 for the first time, trying to go round the outside of David Almanza and Ruchi Moodley, and we do get ahead and into the points. We are into the points as we look to try and now capitalise and get ahead of Alvaro Carpe, who is looking at a move on Luca Lunetta as well for 13th position. So it's been a good start. We have been able to work our way through the pack a little bit as we touch the grass on the inside. Don't want to be doing that at all in these conditions, but good start. We have made up some places and we are into the points, which is the most important thing, just to try and get some points on the board. And to be honest with you, the conditions at this point, the bike feeling isn't too bad, as we again just can't turn it in some of the faster corners there. We run wide and we give David Almanza that position, and also invite Ruchi Moodley, the South African, to try and get his way through as well, but no way through for him. So yeah, overall a good start to the race. We have made up some positions, we're into the points, and we can try and go forward from here. But now onto the race, into the final corner. We're going to repay David Almanza, and it's all getting tight in front in this group, and that's just going to invite us to make the move on Perone. And now we're going to try and get past Pini as well on that lovely Dynavolt bike. Let's just take a minute to appreciate that Dynavolt bike. It is absolutely perfect as we go around the outside of Pini into turn number 1. And the next man, I'm pretty sure, is the pole man. Is it Angel Piqueras? Is he dropped all the way down the order into at the start of this race? It's not. It is Alvaro Carpe. My mistake. My apologies. Still trying to get used to the riders changing teams at this stage as we go around the outside of PD, cover him off nicely, and we try and get the exit, get the bike stand up to see if we could do anything on Alvaro Carpe as we power down again towards turn 4 using the slipstream, looking at trying to get through, but it doesn't look like we're going to be close enough. We do look to the inside, but that was never going to work, and we're able to back out of that one and maintain 13th position as we head in towards this Mickey Mouse section of the track. We're going to look to try and get the switch back here, and broke a little bit early, turn a little bit tighter, and we do get through on Carpe and up into 12th position. And now the run into the top 10 is there because Luca Lunetta is trailing Max Queiroz, who's just losing a little bit of time to the leading group. So we need to try and see if we can get ahead and get ourselves to the front of this group and then just bridge that gap that is being made. But as we now look at the front of this race, it's David Munoz and Joel Kelso going elbow to elbow. Here comes Rueda on the second KTM bike, looking to try and get through, but he can't find a way through on Munoz as we head into the hairpin at the end of the back straight. Kelso again looking to the inside. Rueda's under pressure from Foggia. I think Piqueras is in there as well, so it's all getting very tight and very close at the front of this group as Kelso looks to come back at Munoz around the outside. At the end of the second straight, he's going to hang it around the outside, but Munoz is going to leave him no room, pushing him up to the curb, and that invites Rueda, Foggia, Piqueras and Adrian Fernandez all into the fight as well. Look at that, running him up onto the curb. There's no love lost there, is there, between Kelso and Munoz. Munoz, we know, is a bit of a live wire as Fernandez looks at Piqueras further back, but Kelso runs wide. Munoz again running him up to the edge of the curb as we... Come on, boys, you don't want to be doing that in the wet conditions, running up on the curve as Munoz goes for a lunge, and Rueda's now going to capitalise on this. Up the inside of Kelso, it is chaos at the front of this race. Fernandez gets pinched on the inside from Piqueras, who is in turn trying to make a move on Foggia on the Aspar bike. It is all cracking off. I don't know where to look, but as we come back on board with us, we're going to try and make moves now. Looking up the inside of Lunetta and Max Quiles into the final corner on the brakes, eating into the time of the leading group. And we do get through and up into 10th place now, and in the meantime we set the fastest lap of the race in doing so, 1:48.1. So the feeling in these conditions right now are pretty good as we start lap number 3 here in Thailand, trying to just get the power down the bike again, trying to break away. We're actually in the wrong gear a little bit there to try and get the punch onto the straight, and Quiles just ran into the back of us on that MTA level up bike as we head into the hairpin for the third time. Still trying to just figure conditions out, let the bike and the race come to me, and these conditions come to me, but at the minute we're doing a good job holding top 10 in this race, and we've got 1.3 seconds to try and bridge to the leading 9, and we've got a very angry train behind us. If you look at the mini map alone, there is a lot of bikes behind us, but while these guys are battling at the front, that is going to eat into our hands. It's going to play into our hands, and we'll be able to eat into the gap of the top 9 as they go near enough 4 wide there. Foggia nearly made it 4 wide, but had to back out of it. Munoz and Rueda are going at it wheel to wheel. Rueda on the inside, Kelso holding back a little bit there, and he's going to get the run as they go side by side again at the front. Munoz trying to go round the outside. He's going to have to back out of that one, but he will have the inside as they flick right, but he's now under pressure from Kelso, who is now in turn under pressure from Foggia. So everybody is making moves. Foggia moves himself into that top 3 place on the Aspar bike, but it is absolute carnage as it continues as Munoz gets through. Rueda now goes to the inside. He cuts over the curb on the inside. That's going to push him wide. And here comes Kelso now, looking to make 3 moves from 4th to 1st. It's not going to be quite 1st. It is 2nd though. And he gets to the inside of Munoz, who now loses places to Foggia and Fernandez. So Munoz has dropped his way down the order. But whilst that was going on, this is how it looked from our POV as we look to try and get ahead of Matteo Bertelli. We have caught him up, but interestingly, if you look at the tower on the left hand side, we've also brought the train behind us as well. So I wouldn't say it was necessarily us catching them, it is these guys slowing themselves down that much by fighting that it's just brought the 2 groups together. And once again we are now back into one massive group as we go around the outside of Bertelli, the pole man here in the real life Moto3 Grand Prix, and we do move up into 9th place now, so making further progress forward. And the next man on our list is Jacob Ralston on the Tech 3 bike, so we're going to try and work our way through him as we head into the right hand. I'm trying to say Tech 3 bike, I can't actually remember where Ralston moved to. This is the problem when you get rider transfers. You are trying to get up to speed with everything during this first episode, but we do get past Ralston. We're up into 8th position now, and we can see what we can do about this group ahead as Munoz getting battered at the minute. He's down into 6th position. He's going to make the move on Piqueras as we make a move on Tayo Furusato and move ourselves up into 7th now. So a good lap for us, getting ourselves onto the group and also through the group as quick as possible as we start lap number 6. That is going to be the key for the final kind of 3 laps of this race, to try and work our way forward as quickly as possible. But Furusato is making hard work of that. He goes down the inside at turn number 1, and we're back to 8th place, and now under pressure from Ralston and Bertelli behind as they look to try and get back ahead. But we are going to have the speed, the slipstream for Furusato as well helping there, and we do maintain 8th position at the end of the back straight. So yeah, let's see what we can do. There's a bit of a gap opening up again between Furusato and Piqueras. Nothing too major. You can sort of get that, but we don't want to let that get any bigger at this stage of the race. So we're going to use the slipstream effect to our advantage and blast our way by the Japanese rider, and we're up into 7th place again as the front was folding there on the brakes. Don't want to do that too often, but yeah, up into 7th. Bit of a gap now, bit of clear air just to allow us to use our lines really to catch this group as we jump on board with Joel Kelso. Rueda cuts back underneath him. He was able to break a little bit earlier and do the switchback as Kelso made the move for the lead, and Rueda takes over at the front once again. So these two Red Bull KTM bikes are going at it hand tong, and it's going to be Kelso who's going to try and repay the favour. He has to roll out of it though, and that invites Foggia, who then rolled out of it, which then allows Fernandez to close up. So we don't really know where to look in this race as Piqueras goes on the curb on the green there and gets himself a track limits warning, as does Mooley further behind as we go around the outside of Foggia and Piqueras into the final corner. Don't mind if I do. And we're up into P5 now, so top 5 on the cards. And now we have Manic Munoz, the Danger David, in front of us, where I'm pretty sure he's going to be as aggressive as ever as he wants to get himself back into the podium positions. But onto the penultimate lap of the race, Munoz picks up a track limits warning, and this battle at the front continues to rage on as we head down the back straight. Kelso and Rueda looks to have broken away from the group of Foggia and Fernandez and Munoz, I think it is, in 3rd and 4th. But on the brakes, it's going to be Kelso on the inside. I think he's going to get that move done unless Rueda has exceptional grip around the outside. He doesn't, and Kelso holds firm at the front of this group, but it's Rueda who comes back at him though. He got a good exit onto that straight and is going to go around the outside. Kelso though braver on the brakes, but Rueda trying to hang it around the outside. They're side by side still, and Kelso does hang on, and I think for now that will be him at the front of this group, as where goes us looking a little bit ragged at the back of the group. But it is the leading quartet at the minute. It's Kelso, Rueda, Fernandez and Munoz at the head of this Grand Prix. We're in 5th position, trying to just work our way forward and try and get into this group. But again, while these guys are battling at the front, that is just going to slow them down, and it's going to come into our hands beautifully. It's going to work into our favour. But again, Kelso just holding Rueda off at the minute for now. It looks like these guys are going to be going till the very, very, very end of this race. They're battling hard as we head now into the final corner. Rueda's looking on the inside. Is it going to be a move? Not quite. He backs out. It may be a bit of a rehearsal for the final lap of the race, but it's Munoz who's making progress. He goes up the inside of Fernandez, and we're going to try and get both of them, I think, at the end of this straight. So this is how it played out. Again, on the brakes, we're going to switch to the inside. We're going to look to try and get through, but we're spinning on the exit of the corner, and it's going to be 3 wide. We're going to cut to the outside, though, for turn number 1. Try and get on the brakes. Maybe brake a little bit earlier, but we don't. We actually go round the outside, and we move ourselves up into 3rd. Munoz, though, runs into the side of us, pushes us wide, and while we're going 3 wide here, the leaders are going neck and neck as well. It's the 2 KTMs at the front. We're battling for what I think will be 3rd now. I don't think we're going to be challenging the leaders. I think they're a little bit too far away as we go around the outside, and we are into 3rd place. And we can try now and see what we can do, because you know what, the gap to the front isn't actually that much. It's half a second if we get a good run through the middle, and while these guys battle it out as Kelso goes back to the lead of this race, we might be able to close down and maybe have something to say at the final corner of this one. But it doesn't look likely as we go wide a little bit there, and that's going to invite Fernandez back out as Munoz still lurking, as is Piqueras, Foggia and Furusato in this race. So I think anybody really could end up on this podium in 3rd place, but we're going to do everything that we can to hang on to it. Fernandez down the inside, we're going to let him go, try and carry the speed through the corner, get the switch back, and then line up a move into the final corner maybe. But it's been quite a chaotic race really. Just AI seems to be very, very racy in Moto3, which is great to see, and it seems to be really big grouped racing as well. But now on the run into the final corner, we're going to line up a move on Fernandez. We're going to try and get through on the brakes. We brake a little bit too late though. We're going to get it stopped, but we do run wide on the exit of the corner, and Fernandez says thank you very much. Drag race to the line, and Fernandez pinches it. We finish 4th, but it's Kelso, on top. He beats Rueda, Fernandez 3rd, Winkelmann 4th, Munoz 5th, Foggia 6th, Pecara 7th, Lanetta, Furisato. Rollstone rounds out the top 10 ahead of Bertelli and Alvaro Carpe in 12th. The final points going to Quiles, Perone and David Almanza in 15th position. So what a chaotic start to the season. We come through from 18th to 4th. The championship standings obviously as the race results were, which is Kelso leading Rueda by 5, Fernandez 9 points back in 3rd. We are 4th, 12 points behind, and Munoz a further 2 points back in 5th. The team's championship is Red Bull KTM IO. They were 1-2 in that race, and they obviously lead the team standings. So now we've got a new feature in the game, which I didn't know when was happening. I thought it would happen at the end of a session. It doesn't happen at the end of the weekend. So the race was obviously wet, which we have to factor in, but we will look at areas that need a little bit of work in those conditions. I don't know if it's going to factor that in or not. But we struggling a little bit understeer, a little bit of oversteer as well, sliding on the exit corner, not much rear grip, so we're going to just let them know that the bike wasn't handling too well, and that's kind of all they wanted to know. They didn't really want to know anything else. But there we go, that is the start of the MotoGP career mode done. Looking at the MotoGP standings, Marquez leading Bagnaia. We've got a couple of changes. Gigi Antonio's gone to Grassini, Zarco's gone back to KTM, Bezecchi's gone to Pramac Yamaha, Aldeguer at VR46, Bastianini at Aprilia. So there's quite a few changes to catch up on there in MotoGP, which is nice to see. Arbolino, who has moved actually from the Blue Crew Yamaha squad to Italtrans, leads the championship. Try to work out any other changes based off the colour. Colin Vaya, I think, has moved over there as well. He's 12th. Vietti, I think, as well moved there. So changes throughout and all good fun. So there we go. That is the end of the first episode of MotoGP 25 career mode. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you with a brand new video on MotoGP 25 very, very soon. So until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.